Hey, this is Mike. I want to tell you about the time that I felt like Bigfoot was trying to gang up on me in the Talladega National Forest out there. Um, I never saw him. I really think it was like three of them, but it was out there in the Talladega National Forest between Centerville and Tuscaloosa. This ain't near Talladega. I don't know why they call it Talladega National Forest. They actually have one near Talladega that they call that. So I don't know, but I guess it's just the same division that manages it all, and so they call it that. But anyway, um, this um, section here, um, you go on out there. Let's see, you turn right at County Line Grocery, going up a hill. You turn right again at the top of the hill into this dirt road, and it splits off. You could either go straight or you could turn right and go on up the hill, on down the hill, and on out there. And on top of the hill, I actually talked to my dad 30 miles away on the CB. And I just had a little CB at the time that I turned the modulation up on, and I had an antenna on the back of my bumper. It wasn't a good antenna, and that ain't a good spot to put one unless you have to. But I had turned the modulation up on that little radio. It's a small radio. It wasn't, big like a Cobra 29 or anything, but it was a Cobra. It's Cobra 19 LTD Classic. It looked like a mini Cobra 29, and I had to taking the bottom section off and turn the modulation up with a be louder, and it'll swing on up there past the carrier. The carrier signal, which is what it would do, if you just keyed the mic without talking. And anyway, he said I was putting a 7 on him. He sounded good on me. And, that was kind of fun. But anyway, on past that, about a mile or two, there was a road that cut to the right. And then there was one that cut to the left. I think the one that cut to the left was down a little further. But I kind of had some experiences on both sides. The one on down on the left, I had been there several times and had scouted it out. I might have been one or two times before this incident. And it was in broad daylight, and it started pouring down rain while I was out there. I was in the vehicle, and I was just kind of looking around to see what would, I was being quiet and seeing what I could see. And, you can sit in the vehicle and deer would come near. Sometimes they will. But while it was raining, through the rain, I could have swore I seen stuff running up on 2 feet. I thought I was seeing things. I couldn't see them solid because of the rain. But they was running to my left, they was running to my right, they was running behind me. And they wasn't real close, but they was close enough. But yet far enough away, it kind of, they didn't mess with me, but they messed with my head. You know what I'm saying? And they had me tripping, whether I actually was seeing something or not. But on another day, I rode on out there. I took my little Nissan pickup out there, and I got to where I was wanting to go, and I got out, got my 30-30 Winchester, and I started, I locked my truck and started walking on out there to the spot that I determined I was wanting to be. And I'm in the habit of hitting my side a little bit, making sure my keys are still there. Because, I didn't know if, sometimes a belt loop could come undone or something, and or what I had, to hang on my belt loop, would be, kind of mess up or something. I always made sure my keys was there. No jingle. I looked down, no keys. I felt in my pockets, no keys. I had hoped I'd dropped them on the ground along the way somewhere instead of them being in my truck. But when I got back to my truck, they was in an ignition, and I could have shot the window out. I could have broke the window out with the end of my gun. I didn't want to do that. I started looking for twigs, privet hedge twigs that you could break off and rake the leaves off. I mean, I thought maybe this would work. It was a hunch. Maybe God told me, because I was praying for sure, especially after I heard the tree knocks. What are tree knocks? Well, it sounds like something or someone is taking the back edge of an axe and hitting a tree with it real hard. And I've heard them before, and I researched it because I wanted to know what was out there in the woods with me when I was hunting. I've heard this before at Mercedes when I worked out there. At the more isolated sections of it, and not necessarily on the grounds of Mercedes, but the surrounding areas. And but anyway, on this particular day, they started, and it was 3 sections that I heard them in, and it was 3 different knocks at each section. 3 knocks here, stop. 3 knocks there, stop. And then 3 knocks over yonder, stop. And they just kept on doing like that. And I wasn't real panicky. Maybe a little bit there, I mean, I might have stopped and told them, my dad told me when I was a little boy, if a booger ate me, he'd get indigestion. I might have actually said that, I mean, ain't no telling what, knowing me, I might have. But anyway, I guess kind of wonder if what was going through their minds, What's he talking about? What's indigestion? But anyway, I just kept on, don't eat me, Bigfoot. Hold your tater. I'm trying. Hey, I'm trying to get on out of here. And obviously the twig had to be strong enough not to bend too much to get in between the crack of my door. And it had to be limber enough yet to not break. And I found one that was just right, thank God. And I was able to get it over my latch on my door. Back then, they put latches right there on the top of the door panel where it meets the window, right over there in the corner right there, which is a little bit too far for me to point without leaning too much. But now they got them right there. They got push button locks right there. You can push, or you just manually push that. And maybe you could get something over that door handle and pull it out, and it would open the door. But this is more simple here. I got that thing over the latch and pulled it up. I got in there, got my keys, went back around, and because the console was in the way, and unlocked the driver's side and got in, and I left. I told him, you let me leave, you don't hurt me, you don't eat me, I ain't gonna be back. And I have kept my word. I ain't been back there since 2007, maybe 2006. I think that was in the wintertime of 2006, around Christmas. Somewhere around Christmas, New Year's, something like that. And I ain't been back. When I left, I took my time leaving. I mean, if they wanted me, they could have rushed me when my attention was not on them, and they could have been, you know, when my attention, was on trying to unlock the truck, they could have rushed me and been on me like a duck on a June bug, but they didn't. Yeah, I had a gun, but could I have lifted it up and got off a fatal shot? And you gotta be particular where you shoot a Bigfoot, for what I hear. Dog man too. You gotta shoot him in the groin or in the head. Not that center mass. Oh no. That center mass, they'll laugh at you, pretty much. They may die later, but they will get you first. But anyway, I just took my time getting on out of there. I didn't want to hit any, hard bumps and mess my truck up. I've always been like that, pretty much there, But anyway, I got on out of there. But before that, the section of road that cuts to the right, one time me and Flintstone hunted that. Yeah, he went hunting with me again, several times after I done shot his hat off when I was a teenager. Of course, it helps, that you actually, loan him a gun, and I had enough I could loan out. I even bought him one on my credit one time, and he paid me back. And yeah, Flintstone's a good dude. He could be trusted. But anyway, yeah, Flintstone might want to refer to this video if he ever needs a job reference or anything. He's on disability now. He don't need that. Anyway, this time I took the Fairmont out there, which I don't think I have uploaded the video yet about me getting a deer with the Fairmont. But yeah, I got a deer with my Fairmont. And it crippled it. And I had to run catch it and everything. But anyway, that's another story. But I at least took it out there for good luck. It was running off of 5 cylinders instead of 6. Putting along, but it still was dependable transportation. And we had, together and separate, we had scoped out this property. We'd split up sometimes, and sometimes we kind of hunt together a little bit, look stuff over. And we found a section there where it looked like a bunch of deer footprints was together, like they had been herded to a certain area. And then, I was trying to be serious about my hunting. I actually had some deer pee you could put on a rag and tie it on a limb or something. Kind of stir the deer up, kind of make them think there's a doe out there that, was in heat or whatever. But Flintstone this particular day decided he'd go sit in the car and wait on me. He was tired. And I still didn't want to go yet. I wanted to hunt this section of old dirt road. And I was out there hunkered down waiting. And I swear to y'all, I didn't hear it coming. I just seen it. And it was a big old buck that sailed across the road. And when I mean sailed. I mean, it had his front feet out, forward all the way. It had his back feet stretched out backwards all the way. And it just floated across the road. I didn't hear nothing before that. I didn't hear any footfalls after that. It was a trip. It was like it was a ghost. But anyway, it was getting towards late afternoon there, early evening. It's time to go. I got up and went on out up the hill there. I figured there wouldn't be any more activity hardly, before it got too late to hunt, but anyway, that kind of weirded me out a little bit there. But to be honest, later on, thinking about it, it weirded me out a little bit more. That was my wife. Where are you? Well, if I get off of here and tell her, it'll cut my video off. But anyway, the answer is I'm over here, while she's over there. I like to cut up with her like that. But anyway, I guess it's time to go, y'all. I'm tired, and I need to upload this video, and there's another one I'll upload before that. But to be honest with you, I said I ain't put that video up yet. I may have, about the roadkill. Um, I'll check and see though. Anyway, y'all have a good one. I hope you have a better day tomorrow than you did today. God bless y'all. And, well, goodbye.